How's it going, guys? Today we'll be going over some ways to improve the Army MSV carrier by providing some tips and making some product recommendations you can use or pass off to your teammates, boots, or Joes, as I guess you call them in the Army. We'll cover how to make it more comfortable, lighten it up, and show some ways to improve your experience with it. At the end of this, you'll cut about 14 ounces or 22% of the weight from your kit. Mind you, that is with a small, which is what we have here with us. Have a more modular setup so you can use more of the items you want to be able to use, be able to breathe, and move better. We believe that if we can make gear more comfortable to work with, that proficient users will be able to focus longer and have more longevity in the field, and that is our ultimate goal here. So let's kick this off with a quick overview of the MSV. The MSV is very similar to the Marine Corps Gen III, so much so that one clearly ripped off the other, and my guess is that the Gen III copied this, as the MSV is honestly better thought out and patterned in comparison. Regardless, it doesn't matter that much, as both have a ton of issues that need to be addressed. The MSV is a so-called scalable carrier, but there are just two plate carriers stuffed into each other. An outer carrier that features MOLLE, a buckle and cable release system, structural cummerbund, and some padding, and an inner carrier that is pretty slick and has its own front and rear plate bag and cummerbund set. You can clearly see how the weight and fluff builds up with a system like that. So what's the issue? The first issue is the excessive amount of layers, which increases the weight and enlarges the footprint of the plate bags. This is how they call it a scalable carrier, but again, it's just two carriers stuffed one to the other. Second issue is the plate bags are ridiculously oversized for what they're loaded with. This small plate is only this large, and the soft armor is a bit larger, but still, both of these are significantly smaller than the plate bag itself. On top of that, whoever keeps designing these loves to add features like buckles above the top edge of the armor rather than on top of the armor's footprint it already has. The third and most unique issue for the MSV is the integrated cummerbund buckles that are not removable. This causes the front mounting area to be raised and push out any pouches or placards away from the chest, and results in a loose flap that doesn't lay flat and stable. We wish these could be easily removed, but to our knowledge, the only real way to remove them is to cut them out, which we do not recommend, as this will be a problem when you turn your gear back in. The fourth major issue is, like every other issued carrier out there, there's literally zero stretch in the cummerbund. This is an issue as people need to be able to breathe and our lungs expand as we inhale, especially when running or doing other strenuous physical activities you would be doing in this kit. So with all these complaints out of the way, let's get into fixing this system. As the foundation of the kit, we'll be using the outer carrier just like in the Gen III improvement guide for the same reasons. The external carrier features more MOLLE, buckles, padding, and the sort that make it a better carrier for the infantry instead of using the slick nylon bag that is just an inner carrier. It's a lot easier to work with and improve, and at the end of the day, it's actually what your job would probably require you to use. Starting with the front plate bag, we're going to remove the inner carrier and then remove the armor from the inner carrier. One quick note is it's neat that they adopted a new plate shape, at least for this small, big fan of that, but it is undone by the plate bags having a completely different shape that negates the mobility that this new plate shape would offer. Then we'll reinsert the armor into the outer carrier by first identifying the inner pocket, inserting the soft armor in first with the appropriate direction, then the hard armor plate, and then sealing it up. We'll do the same thing with the rear plate bag as well, shaving off some weight. You can go ahead and take off the cummerbund now or later, but we'll go ahead and knock that out now. And we'll go ahead and remove our outer carrier. Once we've removed the armor, we'll do the same thing. Identify the inner pocket, place the soft armor inside, then the plate, seal that up, zip it up, gum up the action again on this slider, stow that, and we are pretty much done there for now. One thing is you can't tuck these in, as these are actually sewn in place. There's a pad there, so tucking this in doesn't really do much, and you do have padding there, so it's really not worth it. Now, it is nice that these shoulder straps come with these shoulder pad sleeves, but they aren't terribly padded. They're about 1/4 of an inch thick of foam. So we recommend swapping to our ARC shoulder pad V2s. They feature a thicker foam, a spacer mesh lining for better comfort, especially against the neck, and they're about the same weight as these pads are. You'll be able to simply toss these on and, more importantly, be able to anchor them in position by taking the one wrap that's inside, peeling back the strap, and actually anchoring it in position on the Velcro inside. This is also where you'll be making your strap adjustments for proper fitment. Moving on to the cummerbund, we highly recommend you swap this out as, again, it lacks any stretch. You can use a Velcro style cummerbund as the back of the carrier does feature hook and loop, but it will still need a Velcro adapter all the way up on the front as it lacks any real loop Velcro on the front. You can also use a shock cord lashed cummerbund like our own ARC cummerbund or the MSR cummerbund, and for these you will also need a Velcro adapter on the front like our MOLLE adapter panel. And on top of that, you could use our ARC placard or elastic placard to have the cummerbunds directly connect to the placard via first spear tubes, rather than adding more Velcro flaps and layers that build up on top of the buckles already there underneath. To make this happen, you'll MOLLE on the map to the front, and for this video we'll be using our ARC placard V3 on the front with our quad ram insert installed, and have it double as our front connection for the cummerbund. To make that happen, you'll take the male split bar tubes that come with the cummerbund and attach them to the placard sides. Now, to attach the placard to the map, we'll remove our side release buckles that are on it and slide these through the one wrap straps into these two ports right here. And once those are completely installed, you can lay down the placard. Our front is ready to go, so now let's work on the rear. On the back, we'll clear out the cummerbund if we haven't already, and then place the cummerbund where we'd like it to sit, and then start to lash it on. One important note is that there is stitching that seals off some of these laser cut slots, so you will have to be aware of that as you try to weave this through. You'll go ahead and run it through one of the bands, and then through one of the slots. And you'll proceed to do this back and forth alternating so that you have a good weave going on between the two components. Once you have that done, you can go ahead and tie an overhand knot. And then you can go ahead and tuck that knot out of sight, and so it is not exposed to the elements unnecessarily. You'll then go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. After doing the other side, you can add 550 cord band ports if you'd like by taking gutted 550 cord and running it over the bands and through the MOLLE to keep the cummerbund from peeling off the rear plate bag. Pouches can also do this if mounted in a way that doesn't inhibit the cummerbund. To do this, you'll do pretty much the same thing, and you'll run your 550 cord through the MOLLE. And then you'll take it and pass it over the band, making sure it's not inhibiting it anyway or catching on anything. Run it back over, and you can kind of see how this is already capturing this from peeling away. And this can get an overhand knot or a square knot. It's important not to over tighten this as you're not trying to make the cummerbund not go anywhere, you're just trying to make sure that this stays out of the way. You can then trim and burn this, and then just simply walk the knot by rotating your entire assembly, and again sliding that out of the way, sticking it into the MOLLE slots inside so that they're out of sight, and now your cummerbund doesn't lift up and still allows it to stretch as needed. You can then go ahead and do the other side. Once you're done with that, we can go ahead and buckle together our front and rear plate bags, and you're done. That is the quick basic guide to setting up the MSV in a lighter manner, shaving off 14 ounces or 22% of the weight, And we also have a method of carrying ammunition on our front now. What you're gonna do with the rest of this stuff is fetch a trash bag or a tub or something, stick all of this back in there, throw it in your closet or wall locker, and forget about it till you get out and turn all this stuff back in, because they're gonna want all that stuff back. Now that we're done with all of that, we're gonna quickly go over some ways to set up the MSV further to make your life a little bit better and build out your kit. We'll briefly cover side armor, as if you're wearing front and rear plates, you're also issued side plates, and your unit probably wants you to wear them. So the good news is that the ARC Cummerbund V2 can accept your side plate pouch. It just simply mollies in on that inner layer of molly, and you're good to go. Moving on to adding a radio, depending on which type you're issued, you can run the radio under the cummerbund or on an exterior pouch. The deciding factor for which you'll go with would be the radio's operating heat, cable length, positioning, and comfort. If you're using the 152 or a similar radio, you could run it in the ARC radio wing, which would have it alongside your front plate bag and underneath your cummerbund. If you're running something like the 163, you would want to use that in an exterior pouch due to the heat, and that could be again positioned on your front or rear, wherever it is that you can actually access it as needed, yourself or with teammates, and get your cables to be where they need to be. When setting up the ARC radio wing with the 152, you'll place it on the left or right side of your plate bag and utilize the Velcro flap under the placard and with that MOLLE adapter panel to actually attach it. Here we have the push-to-talk and antenna wired already. We're using a rubber band to actually capture the push-to-talk so that it can go with its down lead to the headset, and we have its cable hidden away under all that Velcro as well and out of sight so it doesn't snag. The antenna here is being routed through the slots as well as under this cover, and you can even use an additional zip tie or rubber band to further attach in place so that it's locked in and it doesn't get snagged on or pulled out and worked out over time. When it comes to running something like the 163, using an external radio pouch would be recommended due to the operating heat, and you can place it in other positions as well, as long as you can have access to them, whether it's yourself or a teammate. Again, follow your SOPs for your unit, and also cables, being able to access them if they need to be wired to something else. Adding admin pouches and general purpose pouches is straightforward, and for that you should just follow your unit's SOPs and work off your gear list to figure out what you actually need. Here we have our ARC admin pouch mounted to the front, as it's specifically designed to work off the front plate bag of plate carriers. It's designed that way as the bottom is ramped so that extracting magazines is easier, and it stays out of the way of buckles, push-to-talks, and the sort on its flanks. We also have our plate carrier pack attached to carry water and other individual equipment. To mount this, we'll need to add our snap-on buckles to the cummerbund, specifically the female ones, and also our male ones, which hook in with this T-bar stopper, slip into that loop, and then plug into the straps. After that, you just plug in your plate carrier pack and adjust the ride height for its proper setting and tighten it all down. So here you can see what the plate carrier pack looks like attached to the MSV. Hopefully these tips will help you refine your kit, lighten it, make it more comfortable, and ultimately make your life a little easier. But we want to leave you with one last tip. If you don't train and get used to working with this kit, none of these improvements will really make a difference. Make sure you're taking the time to train in this, work out in it, run in it, and make minor adjustments constantly to ultimately get more proficient. Our goal is to help you conquer all obstacles on your path, and we hope that this video and type of content can help you do that. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below, DM us on Instagram, or email us at customerservice@shaw-concepts.com. If you'd like to check out our other offerings or just stay up to date with us, check us out at shawconcepts.com or on Instagram, Twitter, or Telegram. Thanks for your time, and as always, conquer all.